I'm not going to beat around the dick. War for the Planet of the Apes is the worst of this new trilogy. It's still not bad. Let's talk about it. A couple things right out of the gates. When I first saw the trailer for the Rise of the Planet of the Apes, I thought, great, another reboot with the Rise in the title. How refreshing, how original. But then I saw the movie and realized it wasn't actually a reboot at all. It's a loose prequel of the 1968 Charlton Heston film. I was really surprised by how good this film was. Then we get to the sequel years later, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, gets rid of James Franco, which was a bit of a shame, not because Franco's a good actor by any means, but because his connection with Caesar was so powerful, and you really got that human-ape friendship that they had going on. With that being missing and new human characters introduced, I felt there was a detachment of sorts. However, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes was fucking awesome. Arguably better than the first. For a lot it is. I go back and forth. I think they both have their pros and cons. So now, fast forwarding, 4 more years later? These movies take a long time in between. Understandably so, because the CGI is fan-fucking-tastic. It's got a promising title, one that kind of paints a picture of war. Since it's in the title, War for the Planet of the Apes. There's no war here. There's a small skirmish at an Alaskan outpost, a old military base turned hospital, turned back into a military base of sorts. In fact, if you really enjoyed the action in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and you thought there was going to be more of that, you are wrong. The action in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is tenfold. It's far longer, far more engaging, far more exciting than what we have in War of the Planet of the Apes. Now, I said early on, I do like this film, but I don't love it by any means. It's got problems. It's got a lot of problems. And actually, the more I think about it, the more I am starting to dislike it. But that's what happens when you dissect a film. And people on the internet, kids mostly, get confused when they hear reviews and the person isn't constantly praising a movie like, it was awesome, it was fantastic, everything's great about this movie, I love the action, the set pieces, the characters, everything's so well-rounded, everything's so fleshed out, I love everything about it, it's a 10 out of 10, it's an A+, it's a B+, it's an A-, but it's so good, run out and see it. No, fuck that. That's not what film criticism's about. Film criticism's about the pros and the cons. You can't have one without the other. There's no such thing as a perfect movie. Maybe there is to you, but certainly not to me. My favorite trilogy of all time is Lord of the Rings. There's plenty of things I don't like about those films, but fuck if I haven't watched them 10 times over. And those are the extended editions. We're talking 3.5 hours each. It's no small feat to get through these. I even like the Hobbit movies a lot, and those have even more problems, but god damn it. It's fun to see Legolas run in slow motion up a crumbling bridge of sorts. It makes no sense. He's defying gravity. I don't care. He's killing bad guys all over the place. I'm all in. So here we are with War of the Planet of the Apes. And once again, I went out of the theater thinking it was good. But as I've had some time to think about it more, I'm kind of like, well, this is not really the route they should have gone, or not the route I wanted them to go. I'll spoil things later. So if you've seen it and you want to hear some bitching about some of the plot points, stick around. Otherwise, from a top-level stance, we have Caesar back. And what I liked about this a lot was the first half hour of the film is so good. It's so strong. We get to see Caesar with his family. We get to see him be that military leader for his clan. For Apes Together Strong is chanted constantly. They do this. That's their thing. And the writers brilliantly flipped the script. In the second one, we still follow the humans as they come upon this ape hideout. In this one, though, it is very much a Caesar film. The humans are the bad guys. They're the monsters of the picture. They're in the background. We don't see Woody Harrelson's bad guy for a good 20 minutes, and it's very short. And then we don't see him again till much later. So they build up this monster in the darkness, and we follow our apes as they struggle to survive, to get away from all this war and destruction that Koba has left upon them from the second film. They do a lot of cliches, though. They do the whole ghost thing where Caesar will see the spirit of Koba. It's so done to death in flicks. I just wish they would get away from that whole thing. I've already stated the CG's top form. It makes the first film look pathetic in comparison. The detail on these apes is impressive, to say the least. I just imagine the screenwriters talking to the CG artists and saying, or the animators, and saying, okay, here's what we need you to do for this scene. We have an ape with a gun riding on horseback with a real girl behind them. So the girl's going to be real, ape CG, horse CG, background, you can decide what you want to do with it. Good luck. You have till tomorrow to get it on my desk. The score's pretty solid too. It's nowhere near as good as Dawn. I found Dawn just to be a captivating film from beginning to end. Here there is definitely a lull. After you get past that first 30-40 minutes and we get more to the prison camp, things really slow down, and not in a good way. There's no real cleverness to the script. In the trailers, which I avoided for the most part. I'm done with trailers. I can't do it anymore. They ruin everything. But I watched the first preview, and that was enough. I was going to see it either way, because I love the first two. But in that preview, they make it seem like Caesar is kind of this brilliant mastermind general of sorts. Like he can figure out what the humans are going to do, and he's always 2 steps in front of them. That's not the case at all. I just kept waiting for this war to come, because it's been building and festering for 2 movies now, and the majority of this 3rd film. So I'm just kind of trying to get through the dialogue and waiting for it to happen, waiting for this big thing to unfold, and it never does. The war itself is maybe 10 minutes long. It's not between the apes at all, it's between 2 human factions, which is extremely disappointing, especially when it's all led up to this. It's all been about the apes fighting the humans. And I get the route that they were trying to go with it, but the script's just not smart enough. I don't know what the other reviewers are saying about this or where it currently sits on some of the aggregated websites. I'm sure it's doing all right. I'm sure it's doing probably very well. I just can't give it that great recommendation to go see it. If you've seen the other 2 and love them, obviously you're going to go anyways. But if this is a first film in the franchise for you, no, I'd avoid it. I would go back and watch Rise and Dawn and then decide if you want to go from there. This isn't bad by any means, but it's just not something that... It didn't go the direction I wanted, and I think a lot of people wanted, and that's a shame. It's pretty ridiculous, actually, how good these movies are, considering the source material is talking apes fighting humans. It's silly. It's a silly premise. But there's so much care and love and detail put into them that you get on board, you get invested. We're going to talk spoilers now, so if you haven't seen the film, just walk away. You don't need to see anything else of this, and you probably haven't made it this far anyways, because I'm clearly out of it and tired. It's been a rough couple weeks with some family kind of issues. I'm not going to get into it here and tell you my sob story, but if you want to learn more, you can check me out on Adam Does Movies on Facebook. I think I posted something small about it. Anyway, spoilers going on. Like I said before, the initial 30 minutes or so is captivating stuff. It's really good. And when Caesar loses his wife and child, one of 2, it was tough. It was heartbreaking for Caesar. Not tear-inducing by any means, but you know, you're invested in this character. You've come a long way with him, and to see his family get taken away now, right on the verge of finding their safety, finding their sanctuary, that's tough. I liked Woody Harrelson's character. I like that he wasn't just this cliche bad guy. There was depth to him. He shares with Caesar his backstory about his child and the sacrifices he had to make, going to extreme levels, taking his child's own life, as a matter of fact, something Caesar won't do, which, you know, he's more human now than the humans themselves. It's incredible how little happens in this movie. There's just not a whole lot to it. I just really want to talk about the ending. So that final battle where the avalanche comes down, there was a lot of things I thought were going to happen. One, I thought when Caesar got up prior to the avalanche coming down and the soldiers looked up at him, I was thinking, okay, is this going to be some sort of a respect coming to Caesar? Is he going to start leading the humans now? This is an interesting twist. And then the avalanche comes down, takes them out. Then the second thing that happened was we only see our hero running through the woods, and the other characters are kind of in their own little areas. So we don't know if they survived at first. He's up in the tree looking around, and it's just destruction. So then I thought, holy shit, is he the only survivor? How are they going to tie that into the first film from 1968? What's going to happen now? This is crazy. Is he going to find more apes? But instead it opts for the straightforward route. They just take their journey to their new sanctuary, and Caesar eventually dies of his arrow wound. Not a very glorious death, kind of an implausible one considering he made that entire journey and then died, but I mean, whatever. The ape spirit is strong. It's just for a character of this magnitude, it would have been nice to at least have one more riveting speech or some sort of a hero moment. Instead, he kind of just peacefully dies by the tree. And since he was kind of reflecting a little bit at the end, it would have been nice to kind of bring us back to Rise of the Planet of the Apes again, show him with James Franco, get a little bit of that circle back story, especially when the film opens with this kind of cheesy font thing where it's like, in the beginning, the apes rise. And then they put rise in bold and red and it fades. And I was like, okay, we're going to do this. Now we're going to go to dawn and now we're going to war. I don't know. There's got to be another movie to bridge this because this one does not. He has a son, of course, named Cornelius. But Cornelius in the 68 film is older, or he's old, of course. But this would have to take place. There'd have to be hundreds of years that go by before the apes all learn how to talk, get clothed, build all their shit. Hundreds of years. So they must keep passing this name down from generation to generation, which is fine. There has to be one more bridge film. And what are they going to do? They're going to be more humans that they're going to have to fight? Or maybe they will fight this time since they didn't in the movie called War for the Planet of the Apes? Maybe they call the next one like Conversation with the Planet of the Apes. And then that one will be like a giant epic scale battle. Because we're doing opposites with titles. I don't know. Let Down, not all bad, of course. There's some good to be had. I guess I don't even know what I would give it a grade. I'm not even going to bother. Maybe seeing it again will give me a better appreciation for things once it's out on DVD, since my wife didn't get to see it for once. She's a big fan of these movies too, so it was unfortunate she couldn't go. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I look forward to hearing what you thought about the film in the comments. Take care. Thanks for watching the video. Feel free to check me out on social media platforms for credibility purposes. Intern Sheila should be putting up some graphics for you to digest, I believe. Otherwise, you'll be out on the curb like your mom. Gotta move on. You can also check me out on patreon.com/AdamDoesMovies. Throw me a buck or two if you want. I run this channel alone. It's almost a full-time job, honestly. Thanks for your time. Sheila, the graphics, now.